If you have ever wondered what the difference is between a half step and a whole step in music, I'm going to answer that question today. Hi, this is Jenny from the Musical Homestead, and today we will be exploring the differences between half steps and whole steps. Now, half steps and whole steps are the foundation to so many musical things that we really need to make sure we understand what they are. Today's lesson is part of our Theory Musica track, which is geared towards a 6th grade through adult learner. If you're in kindergarten through 5th grade and you want to know what the difference is between half steps and whole steps, I'm going to link a video in the description below that will be really good for you. If you've been following along with us in our theory journey with our textbook, The Fundamentals of Piano Theory, then we will be in Unit 7 today on page 32. If you would like to pick up the textbook and join us, I'm going to link that in the description below as well. Now it's time to figure out what the difference is between a half step and a whole step. In order to know the difference between half steps and whole steps, we have to know the definition for both a half step and a whole step. If you've been going along with us in our theory book, we talked about half steps in our last lesson, but I'm going to explain it again really quickly. A half step on the piano is when we go in this pattern from white to black to white to black to white to white, black, white, black, white, black, white, white. I am going from one note or key to the next note or key. Now you can see I have some arrows drawn here. It's showing you a half step can either go from a white key to a black key, a white key to a white key, or a black key to a white key. Half steps can go higher or go lower. You just always have to follow that pattern. If you are learning some scales right now, it might be fun for you to learn the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale is when you go from one of these notes, so white, black, and follow that pattern all the way up from one note name to the next note name. Now down here on my music staff, I have drawn my A, and then I have gone up a half step to my A sharp. My A is right here. When I go up a half step, I go to this A sharp right there. Now wait a second. I remember learning about something called enharmonic notes. That's when one note can have two different names. Is there another name for this black key? Maybe another answer that would be correct to go up a half a step from this A? Oh, there is. Okay, now I remember this. I'm going to go up to my B, and I am going to think about this note in terms of B. So I'm going to go down a half step. Oh, that's a B flat. This note can be A sharp or B flat. Down here, both of these answers are correct. Both of these answers are a half a step higher from my A. So here I have my A. I've gone up a half a step to my A sharp or my B flat. Now let's go ahead and try it over here. I have my E, which is right here. I want to go down a half a step. So the easy way, the first way we're going to do it, is this E flat. So here's my E. I go down a half step. There's my E flat. But I know enharmonically there's another way that I can look at this. So can you help me figure out what that note would be? I think I need to think about it in terms of D. So let's draw a D first. And then I have to go up a half step, so it's going to be D sharp. This black key right there, I'll come up here, this black key right here can be E flat or D sharp. If I'm going down a half step from E, both of those answers are correct. Think about that as you're going through your book and as you're thinking about half steps. The second type of step we're going to learn about today is called a whole step. And the best way to describe whole steps is in terms of half steps. Up here I've written 2 half steps are going to equal 1 whole step. 2 halves always equal 1 whole. So that's going to make it easy for us to find our whole steps. As we come down to the piano, we're going to notice our pattern for our half steps, white to black, black to white, and so on, going all the way up. Now, when we have 2 half steps that are right next to each other, they form a whole step. Here I have my white key to my black key, that's a half step. My black key to my white key is another half step. So C to D ends up being a whole step. Over here I have an E. This white key to this white key is a half step. This white key to this black key is also a half step. So here my whole step goes from E to F sharp. Whole steps can also go from black keys to black keys. Here I've got this black key, this black key to this white key, that's a half step. White key to black key, another half step. That means this black key to that black key is a whole step. The last way you can do whole steps is going to be over here. If I start on this black key and I go black key to white key, that's a half step. White key to another white key, that's another half step. These half steps are right next to each other. So this note, F, down to this E flat, that is going to be another whole step. When we come down to the musical staff, we're going to talk about some whole steps and half steps. My first example, I started with the note A, and I wanted to find the note that was a whole step higher. What I like to tell my students is when you're thinking about half steps and whole steps, I want you to picture a keyboard or go and find a keyboard or draw a picture of a keyboard. That is going to make finding whole steps and half steps so much easier. Right here I have an A, so I'm going to go up here to this A. I need two half steps that are right next to each other. So A up to this black key is one half step, and then the black key up to the white key is another half step. A to B becomes my whole step, and that's what I have down here. A up to B is my whole step. Now over here, I've been given the note D, and I need to go down a whole step. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find D on my keyboard, which is right here, and I'm going to count down two half steps. D to, this could be C sharp or D flat, that's going to be a half step, and then this black key down to this white key is going to be another half step. Two half steps equal one whole step. D down to C is going to be my whole step. The last one I have written down over here is my example of when I go from black key to black key. So my given note would be G sharp, which is right here, and I have to go up a whole step. I'm on this black key, half step goes up to the white key, another half step goes up to the black key, which means this G sharp to this A sharp is a whole step. The best piece of advice I can give you as you're trying to figure out what whole steps are is to picture in your head what a keyboard looks like, or actually go to your keyboard and play it. When you look at notes on the staff, you can get a little confused about what half steps and whole steps are. So as you're figuring out what half steps are and whole steps are, please draw a picture of a keyboard or go to a keyboard, because it'll make it so much easier. Now you know the difference between half steps and whole steps. Half steps and whole steps are such a foundational building block of music theory, and we will be using them in the future. Make sure you thoroughly understand them so you're ready for the future lessons. If you've been following along with us and doing our homework, you have 2 pages to do in your textbook, pages 32 and 33. I also have created a fun way to get a lot faster at identifying half steps and whole steps. I'm going to link that video in the description below. I highly recommend you check it out. I think you will have a lot of fun doing it, and somebody might get slapped. That's all I'm going to say. If you enjoyed the lesson today and learned something, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and turn the bell on so you don't miss any of our other fun games and activities that are coming your way. And until I see you next time, remember to have fun learning music.